Hi, thanks for tuning in. My name's Stuart. I'm getting back into running at 60 years old after a 40-year break. I'm reviewing the Nike Revolution 7 shoe. Now obviously bear in mind that you're not going to get a review from me that's anything like a professional runner's review or even somebody who is really familiar with running shoes. So, take it for what it is. I'll describe to you how I came to buy these shoes. Here's one of them, the Nike Revolution 7, and in order to find the name of this shoe I had to look at the label on the tongue, and it told me the product code FB2207-011. I put that into Google and it told me what the name of this shoe is, which is really bizarre because I bought it from Sports Direct, and the way they lay out all their shoes is, as far as I remember, they don't actually label what it is, but it doesn't really matter. So if you've seen my previous video where I'm talking about what my ambitions are and why I've come back into running, you'll know that I'm primarily aiming at 5k park run, trying to improve my time, and I've got an ambition to get my current time down, which is 32.5 minutes, down to 25 minutes within 6 months. I don't see why that shouldn't be possible, frankly. I've been running with a pair of cheap Carrymore shoes, which I bought from Sports Direct about 2 years ago, and frankly they've got holes in the soles. They cost me about £30 at the time, and I bought them not for running, just as a pair of sort of trainers to wear. And I've been doing the park run in those shoes and running in them and getting wet feet, etc., etc. Finally, I decided to upgrade once I decided that I was going to take running seriously, because I haven't been doing any training for this park run. I do the park run every 2 weeks. I've managed to reduce my time, but it's been a struggle, frankly. I've got down from 38 minutes to 32.5 minutes, which frankly is still embarrassingly bad. Even though I'm 60, I've kept myself in reasonable shape, mainly through walking and being fairly active, but yeah, no running, no cardio sort of activity. So I went into Sports Direct last week. Here's the shoe. I went into Sports Direct knowing that they've got an absolutely mind-boggling range of running shoes, and I initially thought to myself that rather than ask the sales staff to go backwards and forwards with shoes for me, I was going to select from those that they put out on display with all the boxes and just buy from those. There's probably at least 50, 60, 70, 80 different shoes. Surely I'm going to find one. So I tried various shoes around about the sort of between £40 and £60 price mark, which I think for me is appropriate given that I'm getting back into running. I'm not sure how long this is going to endure, this interest is going to endure. Who knows, I might get fed up with it in a couple of months, and then buying a £100 or £150 pair of shoes would probably be a bit of a waste of money. And I could probably get something which is good enough to sort of get me going. And then if I decide I'm going to be really serious about it, and if in 6 months time I get that 25 minutes, I might decide to go for a pair of £150 pair of shoes. So I was looking at that price point. I found some sort of Adidas shoes, which they've got sort of air technology in the soles, and I was reading while I was there. I actually had my mobile phone out and I was reading reviews on some of these shoes, and people were mentioning that the ones with air in the soles can squeak. Well, the last thing I want is to be running around with an irritating squeak when I'm running, so I immediately ruled out all shoes with this kind of air in the soles. I just wanted to go for a straightforward foam compound or whatever it is in the sole with no sort of air pumped into it, or I don't know how these things work. Maybe the squeaking problem is not such a big thing, but I noticed a few people saying, yeah, it's a good shoe but it squeaks. Well, I don't want that. So I spent quite a bit of time. I tried on about 6 different shoes and I didn't find any that I liked, and I didn't find any that were really essentially comfortable enough that I was sort of happy with. So I started looking at New Balance. Now I always fancied a pair of New Balance shoes. In the 80s, when marathon running was becoming a big thing. This was the shoe that a lot of people were going for, and it seems to have a lot of kudos about it. So I saw they had quite a good range of Nike, sorry, not Nike, New Balance shoes, and there was one that sort of had studs on the bottom. I can't remember what it was, but it was about £100. I sort of like the look of it, but I thought that, you know, those studs, they'll probably wear out fairly quickly. So I didn't really think that would probably be a good idea. So I kind of ruled out it's not that I ruled out New Balance. I'll tell you what, I started going with £100, 80 to £100 pairs of shoes of New Balance to the sales assistant. Now my size is UK size 12. UK size 12, US size 13, and they did not have any 12s in any of the New Balance shoes that I was interested in. It was always like the biggest shoe they had was size 11, and that's no good. I asked about 8 different types of New Balance. It looks like I'm not going to buy New Balance. I'm not going to be buying New Balance because they haven't got my size. I don't know why. So I had to start looking at others, and I realized that I was going to have to I actually went away from the store on the first day after spending an hour in there, looked around some other stores in the city centre, and realised actually that Sports Direct had the biggest range and were probably the most competitive on price. So I didn't bother with any of the other stores that I saw. Went home, thought about it, did a bit more research, came back the next day for a second go, and this time I thought I've got to be a lot more focused in what I'm doing. So I picked out 4 different shoes that I liked. One of them was this, the Nike shoe. This one is £50, reduced from 65, it said. And then there was an Adidas, and there was Reebok, and then something else, I can't remember what. But they were all in the sort of 40 to 60, 40 to 60. I think this was the most expensive. The others that I picked out were sort of more like £40. And I tried them all on, and they all had sort of issues with comfort and fitting. So I have a little jog around the shop, and I noticed one of them, for example, my heel slips up and down slightly when I'm running. I don't want that. I want the shoe to comfortably sort of hug my feet, not tight, but I don't want my heel to be slipping up and down when I'm running. So that was a 12. I knew that if I tried an 11 it would be too small, and bigger would be, you know, even worse problem. So I ruled out that shoe, and none of the others, all the other shoes I tried, they were either too tight or, you know, I didn't like it was essentially what I went with was comfort. Comfort on the fitting was my primary concern. How did it feel when I was jogging around the shop? And the Nike won out. That's why I bought this shoe. And the other reason this won out is because it seemed to be lighter than the others. Now, I've measured this on my scales, and it's about 350 grams. I don't know how that rates as a running shoe, but I find this to be acceptably light. I don't like a heavy running shoe. I mean, I weigh 83, 84 kilos. The last thing I want is another, you know, 200 grams on my feet when I'm running around. So yeah, so I came away and bought these for £50. I've since found out that, you know, yeah, that is about the price for these. And I guess you could probably get them cheaper online. I guess I could have got them for £40, but you know, obviously I wanted them there and then. I didn't want to have to wait for them. And after spending all that time in the shop and getting help from the assistants, you know, I don't think it's very nice to go into a shop like that and then just go home and buy it online for the sake of £10. And I wanted it because I wanted to go out for a run the next day. So yeah, so I bought them. There's one shoe, there's the other. And I'm sorry about, you can't see them very well because of the lighting. Yeah, I also like the fact that, I mean, for me, the padding, I mean, the support is enough. I've heard that the big thing with running shoes is that the softer the sort of padding material, the material in the heel, the better. This is quite firm. I don't really seem to have a problem with that. I mean, maybe it will become a problem, but I like the soles. They've got a kind of sort of flat studdy kind of thing with space in between them, so there's good traction. They lace up very nicely. Also, I like the fact that they've done the laces in a crisscross style and not the bizarre sort of system that shoe shops use. because I always end up taking the laces out and just doing a crisscross lace up. So I like the fact, I mean, the laces feel good, the tongue's fine. I've been out running in them, of course, and you know, I find them quite reasonable, obviously much better than what I had before. And I've not really had any problems. I've not had problems with my feet overheating. They seem to be quite breathable, and I've got nothing bad to say about them at all. So I mean, would I recommend these? I don't know, because I mean, I've only been running in them for 2 weeks effectively, and I've had no problems with them whatsoever so far. They're comfortable, and I've not had any sort of leg problems or any evidence of you know, I'm absorbing too much shock from the road. My legs seem to be okay, and I seem to be running. I haven't tripped in them or anything like that, and I seem to be running comfortably in them. Now, I've since looked at some reviews, and people seem to be saying that it's okay for 5k, maybe 10k, but not as a marathon shoe. Well, that's fine, because I'm only running 5k runs anyway, and my training runs are never more than about 5 or 6k. So we'll see how we go. Now, I've got to run tomorrow, a park run, and let's see how I do. My personal best on this particular route is 32 minutes 35. So I'm hoping to knock a minute off that. That's my target. And I'll come back with another video next week explaining how it went. Hopefully I will achieve that, because you know, I've been training for the last 2 weeks. I've got a training regime of 2 days running, 1 day rest. 2 days running, 1 day rest. Now, I had my day rest yesterday. I'm going out for a run today, and I've got my run tomorrow. I would have preferred it to be a rest day before the actual park run, but I mean, I don't want to disrupt my routine, so I'm going to have a gentle run today and then see how it goes tomorrow. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll let you know next week how I do. Bye for now.